Hi, what's up, y'all? I'm gonna be very, very, very honest today. Very. Taking out the trash, y'all. Because get glad, you know what I'm saying? There has been some confusion in the world. And there's been a lot of confusion. And what came to my spirit was excuses for a better life. This is only for a certain type of person, a certain type of collective. This advice is not for everyone. Everyone's energy does not operate the same. And the sooner we can understand that, the sooner we can be more accepting and have more empathy towards each other, but also staying in our own lane and minding our own business, because we are at an understanding that we are built and created to be uniquely different for a reason. Our purpose, our colors, are what they are for a reason. I incarnated into myself as a melanated woman for a reason. I did not come here as a man. I just didn't. I like to say I'm a gay man in a in a woman's body, and I love my lady parts. You know what I'm saying? Because I am everything. I am balance. I am all of these things and more, right? And we get caught up in the 3D way of looking at things, like the very matrix way of looking at things, the coded way of looking at things. And I call it the coded way, thinking in terms of the matrix, like, okay, this way is the program, right? But I don't know if you saw that movie Westworld, where one of the girls, she went against her program. She started realizing, oh, they keep erasing my memory. They keep resetting me. And then they do whatever the fuck they want to do to me. And they keep resetting me. And they think that by erasing my memory, it's going to somehow keep me from waking up, right? And we are programmed to forget. That is a part of the contract of coming into the physical reality, right? But once we're here, we're like scrambling around, like, okay, what do we do? You know, and we're getting shaped by other programs and other programs. And it's like, then you get sent experiences, you draw to you experiences that awaken and remind you of who you are. And you get that notification inside. And some people call it deja vu or intuition or whatever, like, or just there's this knowingness, and you get awakened to it, and you're like, whoa, that felt good. That felt like that was true. That felt joyful, and it does no harm. It does no harm. As in itself, it does no harm. So, oh, okay, that feels like me. But there are times where harm is necessary. And when I say harm is necessary, I don't mean as a justification. I mean sometimes it requires some agents of the matrix require you to be volatile so they can understand, so they can know not to fuck with you. So they can know not to fuck with this energy. So they can know what the fuck they need to do. Because right now you standing in the way. Right now you need to get the fuck out of my way. Right now you need to mind your own business. Right now you need to stop colonizing on my energy. Right now you need to focus and mind your own fucking business. And this, for me, friends, this is the thing we get fucked up on the spiritual path, is that when we truly say we want to jump this path, we want to walk this spiritual path, some people think that there is some point where healing is just going to stop. I mean, that healing is just going to happen, and then we'll be happy and living in heaven and, you know, happy for the rest of our days. You know, Hakuna Matata, you know. And there is very much some of that in the experience, for sure. when you take the spiritual path, when you truly purify your heart. I'm telling you, I experience heaven every day. And this is not to brag or anything. This is to let you know that it is possible to experience heaven wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and however, like, really when you're walking the path of the divine. But people think that there is some place that you get to and then you don't have to deal with the other side of the spectrum, but you're here in the physical world, so you're going to have to deal with the other side of the spectrum. Everything has an opposite, everything. So there is nothing that you want to experience over here that you're not going to get over here. So you have to be careful about that. When you're envisioning what you want, you're going to get the other side of it. And it's like, oh, I thought I wanted that, but that's not what I wanted. But it's like, no, you're actually getting the other side of this. And so you can recognize the different forms of this energy. And then you get to experience the divine essence of that energy. But you have to go through the, I guess, like the yin yang of the energy. You have to balance and harmonize the energy. You have to hit the masculine and feminine of the energy. You have to see both sides of it, right? And then you see the divine. And then it's like, oh, you know what? Gratitude. I'm not going to get caught in that loop, get stuck in the belief that what I wanted, that there's something wrong with what I wanted, right? Because what I wanted was wrapped in desire, so I thought, but it was actually a need. And it was like, oh, you know what? I thought that this was what I wanted. And instead of saying, this is not what I wanted, you're saying, instead of saying, I thought this was what I wanted, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, huh, thank you for this experience. Thank you for showing me what I don't want so that I can leave more space and room for what I do want, for what I do need, for what serves me. Thank you. Because this right here does not serve me. And I have enough discernment to know that this doesn't serve me. But sometimes we get caught in illusion like, oh, I created this, and we sit in it. It's like, no, you don't have to sit in it. No, you don't have to do that. You know, you got caught in the trap of what the programs told you that this was. And that's not even what this was, right? So let's say you entered into a relationship with a certain energy, right? And you found yourself doing things that you wouldn't normally do, right? But then you do these things because this is what your heart has guided you to do. But then they tell you that love is blind, love is stupid, and that you should be logical. And so then, therefore, you step out of your heart. And then it's hard to find your heart again because now you're in logic and now you're trying to logicalize and put everything on this. That you're trying to make all these extra boundaries and stipulations because this is what you need to feel for your human self and your psyche to feel comfortable and to feel safe, right? But there comes a point where there's a knowingness that our experiences and that what we're attracting, there's a whole spectrum, and we know that this is part of the essence of what we're coming to experience, and we don't get stuck and anchored in the not self version of our experience, that we know and have faith in the knowingness that there is another side to that experience, and we want to experience that. So if you don't like what you're getting, flip the coin. And I know it sounds very cliche, flip the coin. I don't know if cliche is the word I'm looking for, but it's like, it sounds easy. And it is easy when you get in the habit of doing it, flipping the coin, of flipping your perspective. That's what flipping the coin means. It means you're flipping your perspective and how you see what you're saying about yourself. So you did this thing in this relationship, and it was with this person that was the other side of the energy. And they were what people might identify as a narcissist, which is just somebody on the other end of the spectrum, less the empathy, you know what I mean? So they're here. And so we have the experience and we're like, oh, I'll never do that again. I will never do it again. And you're like, never? You'll never open up your heart again? You'll never, you'll never do this beautiful thing that you did for this human being ever again. Oh, you're only going to do it for your dog now. Oh, that's so unfortunate because now there's going to be all these dogs with human characteristics and they're just going to take over the world because you're just giving all your love to them and they're evolving, but you're forgetting about the humans that, you know, have come here to co-create with you, that are the divine side of that essence, that that's the opposite of what you've experienced. So now you get this second situation and it's something very similar because it's a pattern, first of all, that you need to look at within yourself of how you're treating yourself in this situation. How are you responding in this situation? What is the opportunity for you to look at with yourself in this reflection? How can you better attune to a higher version of yourself in this creation right here? This is kind of just, these things are just awakening to you, to yourself. They're showing you what you're not, and then they're going to show you what you are. But you got to see what you're not first so that you can appreciate the experience of who you are, who you really are. So we don't want to label this too much as, you know, that's of the devil or that's not of God or things like that. But we want to look at it like, oh, ye are gods, right? So if it's not of God, I'm talking about it's not of me. It doesn't serve me. So if this thing, and I'm minding my own business, the book of Genesis, when we talk about Adam, when they talked about Adam and Eve, that's a whole nother depth of what came to me about that experience. But I'm not eating from nobody else's tree. I'm eating from my own tree. The plants, the seeds that were planted for me, that I planted through other versions of me, through co-creations, these are the seeds that were planted for my particular choices and versions of me right now. This plant, this tree is for me, and I'm gonna eat the fruit off of my tree, right? I'm not gonna worry about those other people's trees. And so as I'm eating the fruit on my tree, as I'm planting seeds, as I'm building, as I'm growing my garden, as I'm tending and maintaining my garden, I'm seeing like, yo, this was a part of, so I can learn what particular things to water my garden with. Oh, this helped me see how to water my garden in this way, because some of the plants over here need this kind of sunlight, they need this kind of fertilizer, this kind of food, but these parts over here not so much. They don't need so much light and sun, you know, because you get too much sun and light, then they can, you know, pass away. They can transition into, you know, a non-living version of themselves. And you know, we want the garden to flourish, and then the things that are go into the non-living space, they actually nourish the living spaces. You know, I'm actually feeling like I'm looking at a garden, you know what I mean? I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. But we go to this, and then we're on this other side of the garden, and we're like, oh, I haven't been tending to you that much. You know, this particular energy that that I thought was like bad for me, which, yeah, if you keep at it, like if you put too much of anything, it's poison. But this particular thing taught you how to water your garden in this way. And you're like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the wisdom to understand that this particular toxin doesn't work. This particular thing does work. This is how I feel when I get something that works. And so when I come into contact with something that serves the whole garden, then this thing gives me a feeling of notification, of resonance, of truth. And it's that deja vu feeling, right? So it brings us, it's all together. It comes back around full circle, right? And so here we are, and it's like, oh, I've been here before. I've experienced, I know this person. I know this experience. I know it because I recognize it now. And I also recognize when it's not that. And so when I see that it's not that, then I can come back and I can say, huh, you know what? It's this is the essence of what I've been getting to. This is what I, so this is what I was really getting at. This is what the real intentions had revealed to me. This helped me to fine tune the essence of what I really wanted to experience. So I experienced that side of it. I experienced that side of it. And yeah, maybe I didn't like that part of it. And yeah, maybe I didn't like that part of it. But collectively, I got to see what served me and what didn't serve me. So now we have this divine essence that's being gifted to us, and we're able to recognize it because we know that it doesn't cause us to feel this way. It doesn't cause this kind of confusion. It is just a straight away. And when it starts getting confusing, I remember Starkeisha used to say, I'm so confusion. But when it starts getting confusing, then you begin to see, oh, well, maybe this confusion is within me or it's within them. But either way, there is something that's dissonant here. And this is either an opportunity for us to step away and let the energy work itself out, or we can be curious and step into it and we can go ahead and handle that thing right now. You know what I'm saying? If you got the energy to, you go ahead and handle that thing right now. But if you feel like, hey, you don't have to handle, you don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? It's up to you. It's your world, baby. It's what you want to experience. What you want to experience, you need to know that the things that you are meant to experience, they are going to be a part of your experience if you allow yourself to have it. But if you keep anchoring yourself in the experiences by saying, I'm never going to do this again, I'm never going to love like this again, I'm never going to do this again, I'm never going to experience this again, I'm never going to do that for somebody like that again, I'm never going to open myself up to this type of person, I'm never going to do this, I'm never, and you talk about so much of what you're not going to do, what you don't want to do, what you won't do, and you start to get into the mode of now you're attracting the experiences in more frequency of what you don't want. And then you're wondering why you're in this pattern of getting what you don't want. But it's only because you keep putting shit in your garden that ain't healthy for your garden. And you done been shown of the things that are healthy and not healthy, but instead you're focusing on the weeds. Every day you get up, your garden, the sun is shining down on your garden and is waiting for you to tend to it. Yet you're sitting here, instead of seeing this beautiful sun on your garden, now you are focused on the weeds that aren't even there anymore. You already got rid of the weeds. It's only a little bit there. You know what to do to get rid of the weeds. You know what you did last time. You know the tools that you have available to you that will help you transcend this particular weed, but you still are too rebellious and too I don't want to do, because something in you doesn't feel worthy of having the experience. And so you're like, oh, I'm not, cause will, just what comes with I want is I will. So if you want to experience something, you will experience, like your will follow. Like if you truly want to experience something, your will follow. That's why I know a lot of times, like, it'll be like, I know I need to do this, but I just don't feel like it, right? Because you haven't found the heart connection to you needing to have that experience. It's more of just a want. So you have to put more effort into what it is you want. And so now you're having to have this experience of you're you're wanting to have the energy to do this particular thing, but you can't really do it because you don't have the will to, or the motivation, or anything, because you don't really want it in the way that it's being presented, the way that you perceive it. But if you change your perception, you flip the coin, then you begin to see another side to that particular experience. And you're like, huh, I do want to experience that though. I don't want that shit, but that right there, I would like to experience that because when I experienced that, when I had this experience, it made me feel this way. And oh my gosh, like I need to feel more like this because when I feel more like this, it's a domino effect. And so it's like, oh, it's a domino effect to heaven, to you experience your heaven on earth. But the will comes because I want to have this experience. Now I actually need to have this experience because when I'm here over here with this, I don't have the will and desire to do nothing. I'm just like I just want to lay in bed. I don't want to take a shot. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to call nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want nothing. I don't want to deal with nobody. I want to protect myself all the time because I feel like I always need to be protected because I don't trust that I'm protected anymore because why is all this shit happening? Why is all this evil eye energy able to penetrate? Why is this happening? Why? But it's because we're not maintaining our garden. We're getting so caught up on the weeds that's barely there or not there anymore. And our programs are causing us to look closer at the weeds because somebody is over here telling us and programming within us that this means that you're mentally retarded. This means that you're a demon or a witch, or this means that you're a bad person, or this means that you're insecure. This means you're a narcissist, or this means you're wounded, or whatever the case is, whatever people want to label that particular weed in your garden, instead of a strawberry being a weed. Oh my God, this strawberry is so delicious. But it is a weed. Palm trees. That ain't really, that's away from my point, but palm trees are absolutely beautiful. They are a weed. They're invasive species. You know what I mean? And so it's like, oh, this 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 weed that keeps growing, I keep getting rid of it because people told me that weed was invasive and it was gonna fuck up my garden. But if I just keep it contained over here, I could actually grow these beautiful strawberries. And oh my gosh, right? Delicious strawberries. Oh, they are the best. Oh my gosh. And they have antioxidants that actually heal me and that actually give me certain types of energy that I need, and certain things, blah 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 blah, right? Because we saw the weed for what it was and we stopped focusing on what the weed did because it was in the wrong place and it was labeled wrong and whatever. We're just moving stuff around in our garden. And so we're getting it to a place and we have to have the patience for the process. And so that's something we ask for. Like, when you ask for patience, you better know that you're going to get an experience that's going to say, oh, you want patience? Here's an experience that is requiring you to have patience, because how can you know that you have patience as you not experienced something that requires you to have patience? So now you're over here again, you're anchoring yourself. You're like, no, I'm not doing that again because that required me to have too much patience. But you forgot that you asked for patience. You forgot that you manifested this creation because you wanted to experience this. You forgot your contracts that you out here putting out. You out here just verbally saying, oh, I want this, I want that, but you're not realizing the other side, the equal and opposite side that's coming to that thing that you're wanting. So that's why it's a really good practice to transmute, to transcend your desires and wants. Like, I ain't saying get rid of them, but really look at them and see what your intent, what are you actually trying to create with this thing that you want, right? Do you think that this thing, that if you get this particular thing, that it's going to give you this particular outcome, right? Or do you know that, you know what? I know that I said I wanted this, but this want is really based off of a void that I had when I was 3, or when I was 7, or when I was 10, or when I was 17. And when this particular thing happened to me, I anchored myself in that experience and I felt that I did not have the support that I needed in that experience, or whatever it was that you felt that you did not have in that experience, you anchored yourself there. You dropped the anchor on the boat and you sat your ass right there for fucking, if you were 17 or you were 13 or 7 or whatever, you anchored yourself there and you grew your big ass up, and now you're grown, but your boat is still at that age, and you haven't made it to your chronological age, which that's even you don't have to ever be your chronological age. You can still be that younger aspect of yourself by embracing the strawberries in your garden, right? But you're not stuck there. You're not stuck seeing the landscape through where your boat got stuck at. You're not stuck there anymore. But until you realize that you're stuck, that you've placed that anchor there, that you're seeing the same sunset every day, all day. You're getting the same experiences every week, every month, every year. You're getting these same sunsets since you was 13 years old because you dropped the anchor there. And you're like, yo, I wish to release myself. I wish to pull the anchor up and get my boat moving. I want to experience all aspects of who I am on my highest timeline, my highest version of myself. Whatever it is you want to experience, you have to get to the place where you're like, you know what? Yeah, I anchored myself there. I thought that this thing I didn't have. So I created a space where I didn't have it. And so now I keep trying to put stuff there and feel it and put stuff in my boat, hoping that my boat will get moving, or that somehow I'll get the food that I need because I've been stuck on this boat. So I've been kind of malnourished or whatever, because the fish maybe, maybe I ate up all the fish in that area, or maybe it suddenly comes, maybe it's not abundant there, maybe people are not feeding my I'm hungry on that boat, right? That version of me, that aspect of me, that ego, that person is still hungry. And so here I want, and you're trying to fill the void of what you want. And you realize every time you get what you want, because you're a powerful creator, but then every time you get what you want, then you're like, yo, I'm not happy. I don't like what I'm getting. And I never like what I'm getting. No matter how much I change it, no matter how much I adjust it, I'm still not getting it. Why? And you're like, oh, because I keep trying to guess and figure out what's best for me and control what I'm getting. And so I keep trying to say, I want this because I think that want is going to fill this need. But how about, Great Spirit, help me out. How about you take that and you fill it with the divine, and you fill it with frequency, you fill it with self-love, you fill it with the things that you're guided to the tools that you're guided to, so that you can pull the anchor up, put it on your boat, and get rolling. You have the tools right in front of you, though. They're available. You always have what you need to get unstuck. You always have what you need to not be trapped. You always have the key. Whether you see where the key is or not, that's on you, and that's the flipping of the coin. That's the perception. If you don't know how to change your perception about what it is you're looking at, you seldom will get to experience the other side of that particular experience, this energy. You'll keep seeing that energy as something dark. That's one of the biggest spells they put on melanated people, is that our darkness is somehow a curse. Everything, the spells that they've associated is that because we are darker, that we are cursed. There were religions that sprung up until like 50, 60 years ago. You know, Mormons had some beliefs that were like, yo, really? They believe that we were cursed, and it was because of what we experienced, what they witnessed. And it's not hard to believe that. It's not hard to see what melanated beings across the world have had to experience, right? Still have to experience, right? It's not hard to see how women are treated, how people of lower status classes are treated. It's all the same. This oppressive energy, it's all there, and it's showing you the lowest aspects of who you are. It's showing you what you have the capacity to be. Don't allow these things to become of you. Don't allow yourself to hate your enemy so much that you become your enemy, you know. And then you witness, you see the world as it is, and you decide who you are in retrospect, in response to this world. Who are you? You get to be reminded of the version of you that you wish to see. You get to be reminded, and you get reminders and reflections on the way. But we get caught up and we get stuck in this perception that we are not enough, that we need to produce this in order to be solidified in our existence, in order to say, hey, I am worth the love that these celebrities are getting, because why are they getting this, right? The celebrities, and I'm not talking about all celebrities. What I'm saying is how we place people on pedestals, and then we compare ourselves to them. We set the bar high for others, and then we constantly compare ourselves to the bar that we set so high. And it's all in our head, because what we've set high is like, you set the bar high that this is to classify your status. Why didn't you set the bar high over here? Because this character and moral value is way more important to have than this particular thing. You're praising this darkness over here. You're praising this action that doesn't serve the whole. You're praising this action that harms all and serves none. Yet over here, the ones that are serving and that are doing, you siphon that energy and you look at it as if they're classless and they're baseless, and that they have no right to exist. That is how, that's how it's treated. That's how we're treated, right? But you transcend that. You transcend it by knowing who you are, by letting yourself be reminded of who you are. You are not the spell they placed on you. You are not the darkness. You are not cursed to the darkness that is you. What? The world was created from darkness. It's not no mistake that really, like, they're finding that everybody has origins in Africa. Even though that's where they try to just like place us as if that's the only place that we existed. Was a whole nother thing. But none of that, it matters, but it doesn't really matter. It's just the stories that they want to tell you. It's just the illusions, it's the curses, it's the code that they have placed on you. And so when you break free from the code, you start to see the many ways that the code is here to oppress you, and you start to break free. And that's why I said, when I say about, okay, this is when harm is necessary. This is when you're breaking free and these energies are trying to harm you. And you're like, oh, you're trying to harm me and this whole group of people. I will not allow you to do this. I would not allow this to happen. And so just like in the martial arts, or is it martial arts or Qigong, where you basically use the person's energy and you return it back to them. there's a magic to it. There's a method. It's not really magic. It's just what they call magic for things that most people can't access throughout without the proper training, right? Because people don't know. This is what we were talking about today. People don't know the things that people like me do on a daily basis for people. Like we be out here praying and letting stuff go and doing things just so that we can empathize with you, so that we learn how to contain our power so that it doesn't harm you. We're sitting here healing and taking responsibility and accountability. We're taking the spiritual path so we can learn how to uh contain our power and use it properly. Because what do they do in the superhero movies? When they use their power before they know how to use it, they're harming people, they're hurting people. That's the level, that's the evolution. We all are powerful and we all have unique powers. But when you don't know what to do with your power, what are you doing? So we're over here training our power, but we're being called witches. We're being called warlocks. We're being called, the devil. We're being called all types of things for learning how to use our power. And sometimes using our power is not going to always be the prettiest. Right. And so I got a podcast and I think I'm gonna call it Loving Your Ugly Self or something like that. Your lovely ugly self. It's something I'm working on. It's a working title, but I'm feeling like we need to learn how to accept our full selves. The strawberry, the weeds in the garden, that is so fucking important, because when we leave the different aspects of ourselves who create us to be our unique selves, and when we're leaving those things out, we're like, our power is going haywire because we're not understanding that all of this is the collective thing that makes up who we are. And it gives us the most power in that now. And it gives us the ability to have dominion over how we use our power in this physical reality. And so when we learn how to use our power, we're not gossiping and harming people with the ways that we leak and don't even understand what we're doing. We don't have no emotional control because we're not learning how to use it, because we're afraid, because the programs told us all these things about ourselves that have us afraid to even tap into our own power. And it's like, yo, if I can't tap into my own power because I'm going to be killed or not accepted, what the fuck am I here for? Because we're just going to keep getting taken out. So at some point, we had to recognize and realize that, oh no, there's a timeline, there's a version of us that this does not fly. And this is what we're activating right now. I'm calling on the collective. I'm speaking to a specific collective. I'm not speaking to everybody. There are if you are even this far in this video, if you resonate with this frequency, this higher frequency, if you are here to activate, if you are a wanderer, if you are a person that's activating ley lines and grids, and you out here doing the work, and you out here working on yourself, and you're out here doing the work to see yourself, to control and understand how to use your power for the betterment, for the servitude of the whole. The whole, because when you're serving the whole, you will realize that you will be naturally guided to serve the whole. And my whole is who I am. So if I'm here to help the whole, there's a specific part of the puzzle piece that I'm here to do. And so I'm not going to be shamed or blamed for not barking up this tree that ain't none of my business. I'm not going to be shamed or made to feel shameful for not doing this A, B, and C, because that ain't my mission. Somebody has that mission. We all have our missions. We all have our choices. We all have our puzzle pieces. God dang it, you don't even have to have a mission to be here, to exist here. You don't. But those of us that are on this path of understanding our power, you are naturally guided to serve. It's just the way that it happens. But if you keep getting into this place where you end up only serving yourself or only doing stuff to serve yourself, then you get fucked up. And the reason why you get fucked up is because you're serving a master that doesn't serve. You're serving a master that harms, that doesn't reproduce the garden that flourishes. It reproduces those dead plants over there. It reproduces that. And you're like, yo, you didn't even grow. You only grow to a little pinchling and then you died. Or you only got here. Oh, you're not even growing anymore. Oh, your leaves keep dying and falling off. What do I do? And then when you start asking the question of how do I prune my garden better, you start to get guided to the intuitive answers of how we can bring this garden back to life. But until you ask the right questions, baby, you're gonna keep staying in this loop of a dead garden full of weeds, darkness that you can't get out of because you're stuck in the spell that they've placed on you. And honestly, oh my gosh, the experience, I can't even explain it. It's something that it's like you have to enter into the kingdom of heaven really to understand it. Like I'm telling you, and people get jealous. You meet people on the path that will be jealous of how do you get to have this experience? How do you get what you get without doing the work that I'm doing to get it? Because baby, I'm following the divine way. And the divine way, it may seem harder, but it's really leverage. It's really giving you hella leverage in this physical plane. It's really a great fucking tool to have while you're walking this spiritual street, these physical streets. You know what I mean? And that wasn't even a mistake because it's spiritual. Everything is spiritual. They try to say something's not. They try to say this is not. Nah, all of this. What do you think? You think God? You think that all this stuff was created and then there were things that wasn't created by the creator? Fuck no. All of this is creation. All of this is God creation. Even the thing that you call a devil or darkness is all God creation. It is all. It's just you have to decide what serves your God, what serves you, what serves your garden. Don't eat from nobody else's tree of life. Don't steal from nobody else's tree of life. Don't covet and wish you had their tree of life. Don't worry about that. You focus on your tree of life. Where is that guiding you? Go through your evolutionary path and you will see the perfection in your lovely, ugly self. You really will. It's crazy out here. It's crazy. But heaven is like a coin flip away. It's a perception away. Oh my God. Heaven feels like it's literally, it's the sweet nectar of the universe moving and flowing in the most beautiful way. No, it really, it's like to tell you how it is and the leverage that it gives you to walk through your day-to-day, the blessings that happen, for the people that don't like to say blessings or whatever, because that's anyways, the blessings that come from it. It's so perfect that you also see the other side of the spectrum, and the other side of the spectrum is like, whoa, glad I don't have to stay there. Glad we're moving through this faster. We don't want to be here, but we know this is a part of the experience. So with that being said, I'm sending you off with love today at 444.